Hello everyone, welcome back for some more Let's Play Radical Dreamers, sponsored by Square Enix. We are going to be going through some more of the alternate endings. So let's hop in. I'm excited to see what other crazy things we get to see. So, the first thing is, we're going to go to sleep again. Yes. We go to sleep, because this gives us the weird, super not canon ones. Right? So, we've all done this in the last part, so I'm not going to reread all of it here till we go to the new stuff. Alright. I'm excited to see what other shenanigans we get. Alright, where's our way in? So. I wonder what that is. We still don't know what the glimmer of light is. Alright, so we are going to... well, we're going to follow them. Corridor stretched off to the left and right from the terrace. So, the first place we need to go to is the study. So, we need to go to the left first. Okay, go left down the corridor. Suddenly, kids stopped in her track. Something's there. We could look to see what it was. There was nothing behind us. Where could it be? Just then we tried to figure it out, the wall began moving. A rectangular section opened up and swung around, revealing two enormous goblins clinging to the back. Oh. This is new. It was like something from one of those stories about assassins sneaking around in old castles. Hello? You goblins? Screamed Kid. They definitely seemed like goblins to me, maybe a touch on the large side. There are 4 in total. 2 of us in front, 2 behind us. Magil rushed toward them. Meanwhile, Kid leapt at 2 of them in front, holding her knife in both hands. I drew my knife and rushed to Kid's side. Crash! The spiked ball of the goblin's Morningstar smashed to the ground, crushing the stone flooring. Kid nimbly leapt up into the air, evading the attack, and landed on the goblin's exposed hand. She swung upward towards the goblin's head, plunging her knife into its left eye. Then she flipped backwards and stood ready for the next attack. That was Kid's style. Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. I tried to copy Kid's trick. If she could do it, so can I. Jumped the moment just before the attack landed. The Morningstar crashed in the stone tiles. All I'd do next was land on the goblin's hand and finish it off with my knife. Whoops, I messed up my landing, tripped on the hand instead, and wound up flat on my back. Well, that's not quite how I wanted it to happen, I thought. Then I looked up. The goblin was towering over me, swinging its morning star over its head once more. I'm done for! The light flashed before my eyes, but then a knife shot through the air, plunging into the back of the goblin's hand. It's my chance. I buried it into his heart. With the goblin distracted, I seized my chance and leapt at it, aiming my knife directly at its heart. Thud, the blade disappeared into the goblin's chest, but then clonk. Something struck me squarely on the head. Oh, wait, I know what happened. It slowly dawned on me as I faded out of consciousness. The dying goblin had dropped its morning star on me. Did we die immediately? A light darted through the darkness, and again. Oi, Serge, wakey wakey, no sleeping on the job, mate. Kid was slapping me back and forth across my face. Ow, quit it. Talk about a rude awakening. Shut your pie hole. Should be thanking your lucky stars you woke up to see a ravishing beauty and not some goblin god. Ravishing beauty? You mean raging egomaniac was what I wanted to say, but I knew better than to risk it. Well, this didn't go great. Yeah, literally already worse for wear. Well, it's a good thing that doesn't matter as much, right? Alright, left-hand side, intersection with some stairs. So we want to go, not the side passage, right? Because we went to the terrace here, right? I'm going the right way, correct? Okay, not down the stairs, no. We want to continue to the side passage to the left? Yeah, side passage to the left. That would be the right one, I think. Side passage then came to an old immaculately polished door. I think this is the study. We went inside. He'd gently pushed the door ajar and peeked into the room. Next thing I knew, she slipped inside. Magil and I followed. Looks like a study. I was right. The room was lit by the moonlight coming through the long, slender windows, slanting down in pale beams through the darkness. It was pretty big for a study, with an immaculate antique desk dominating the center. Rows of bookshelves lined with thick, dusty old tomes. The wall to the rear of the room was decorated with paintings and shelves and vases A painted plate stood before. They all seemed to be curious, so we want to check the bookshelves. No, the paintings. I stood in front of one particularly prominent painting on the wall and examined it closely in the pale moonlight that shone through the window. It was an oil painting depicting a strange scene, the likes of which I'd never seen before. It showed an endless red desert stretching to the horizon. Above it hung a deep orange sky, presiding over a range of impossibly tall mountains. And though it didn't seem to be at night, I could see the stars. Were those stars? What was this landscape? It seemed completely out of this world. And the longer I looked at it, the more I experienced a strange sense of sadness. I felt like a lone fugitive in a foreign land. I realized then that Magil was standing behind me. Oh, sorry, Madge, I spaced out there for a moment. For a moment, I took Magil's piercing gaze as criticism for becoming so absorbed in a painting while we were deep in enemy territory. I was wrong. He stayed exactly where he was, his gaze fixed, even after I stepped away. I never had much of an idea of what Magil was thinking, and tonight had been no different. Until now. Suddenly I saw the contents of his mind laid bare, as if I'd opened up his head and peered inside. A fire burned within him. Okay. It was as if Maxwell's demon had given him a free pass on the second law of thermodynamics. If it wasn't for fate, I wouldn't know what that was. No. It was as if all the helium and hydrogen atoms around us had suddenly undergone thermonuclear fusion, and the resulting neutrinos could be observed roiling in a glass of water. That's how much he was on fire. His expression was as blank as it had been, but whatever flowed beneath it had clearly caused a massive jump in temperature. Surge. If anything happens to me, I want you to take care of Kid. What the hell's that supposed to mean? But the question never reached my lips. The answer was clear enough. Sometimes a fire runs through a man's veins, and all he can do is launch into an epic battle that he might not come back from. I finally found you. He was still staring at the painting. His gaze was so piercing, it could have shot through the wall and impaled Cronus, the father of the heavens. What is happening? It was clear to me that this red-hot intensity had been burning deep within him for a very long time, kept just barely below boiling point, trapped under his expressionless mask until now. Guys, you alright? You both seem kind of worked up, said Kid cautiously. The throbbing veins of our temples, carrying hot blood to our pounding, manly hearts, had illuminated our surroundings with the blue glow of a Cherenkov reactor. What is going on? Horizontal stripes of light in a sort of pastel indigo shade pulsed violently across the background behind her, and the left half of her face, and a gigantic 2-inch bead of sweat was trickling down her cheek. Pah! What was the point in trying to explain? She'd never understand what it means to be a man, a real man, with the uncontrollable urge to drench himself in the blood. This is from looking at a painting. Don't you see, Kid? Magil's about to face his ultimate enemy. If you know what it means to be a warrior's wife, wish him farewell with a smile, even if it hurts to do so. Crack. Oof. That enough to bring you down back to earth, big man, or should I aim a little lower? Huh? What was I doing? Do I admire Kid's dedication? In order to wake me from my testosterone-filled reverie, she'd carefully undone the lace of her boots, taken it off, then neatly put it to one side, then axe-kicked me in the head with her heel of steel. Nice. So what's got Magil all worked up? I'm not sure. I guess it must have something to do with Lynx. As soon as he came in here, he saw that painting. Hot blood was pumping from my forehead at 500 cc per second. I pointed a wavering finger at the oil painting of the desert. What about the bloody painting? She clearly hadn't enjoyed my spaced-out excuse for an answer. She picked me up on my collar, a look of bewilderment and frustration on her face. Magil was standing in front of the painting, bathed in a blaze of blue fire. And then amid the flames, I saw a pattern starting to form on the back of his tightly clenched fist. It was a kind of symbol. A slanted broadsword overlaid by the letters S and P in all blue. What? My friends, we have no more need of keys. Having discovered who Lynx really is, I feel no reluctance in unleashing the hand's true power. May its searing blue flames guide our way. What is going on? What? I don't know what you're on about at the best of times, mate, but that was just gibberish. Hit. Smiley face like out of a 2000s Japanese form. And on that bombshell, we decided to leave the study. What? What is happening? Okay, now we go to the treasure room. Where's the treasure room? The treasure room is past the clock tower. Okay. Oh my goodness. Okay, so we want to go towards the terrace. Yeah, right branch to the terrace. We go past the clock tower and then to the treasure room. So, we kept following the corridor past the terrace. Short way, we found an ancient looking door on our right. That's the clock tower. We want to go past that one. Bit quiet, don't reckon. Okay, so we're going to continue on. Yeah, better see what's at the end of this corridor first. Kid left the door alone and continued on the corridor. We continued creeping down the darkened hallway as silently as we could. Continue on the door, we came across a sturdy looking one on the left. A little further stood a stairway. Well, this closed doors. Okay, so yes, sniff, the cold, hard cash. We went inside. Foosh! Okay, maybe foosh was an understatement. The moment Magil's glowing hand touched the door handle, I was going to say, it should have a lock. It and most of the door immediately disappeared as if he just popped the filmy surface of a soap bubble. Strike a light. If you could do that this whole bloody time, why didn't you do it sooner? Kid pouted grumpily as she slipped through the hole and into the vault. I made to follow after her. The edges of the huge hole Magil made in the door were clean and smooth, as if they were made with an impossibly sharp blade, and it had left not a single speck of debris on the ground. Before you ask, I have no idea where it all went, said Magil, as if reading my mind. Wait, he said the hand, and then he made it disappear. Is this actually a JoJo reference? Is this legitimately JoJo Part 4? No, can that even happen? Wait. Radical Dreamers SNES release date. 1996. JoJo Part 4 release date. It came out in... That's the anime. I need... Oh, shoot, it was in 1992. It's absolutely a reference to the hand from JoJo. Because if it just disappeared, it'd be like, whatever. But his whole thing of, I don't know where it goes, that's literally the hand. I braced my hands on either side of the opening and followed after Kid. As I entered, she moved... I can't read it yet. As I entered, she moved further into the room. Struth, get a load of this. As our eyes grew accustomed to the darkness, we saw that we were surrounded by priceless treasures and works of art. What is being said right now? I'm guessing this is Magil. That's a statue of the hero Kaful from the planet Tarast, rather. And there, a stuffed Saturnian Dermaphos, a gray lens, a Tochukaso Trifid, a Life Maker nameplate, some Clenaduthu royal jelly, an angel crystal, and that one resembles a gravestone crossed with a Swiss Army knife is a Zolan bluestone. Jeez, Madge, how many people are going to get all those references? Those were references? Because I got none of it. I got 0 from that. I started to feel dizzy. If you have any complaints about how we handle the source material, you can send them right here, said Kid cheerfully with a forced grin. This doesn't feel like an official Square Enix product. She was addressing the camera directly and pointing at her butt. Oh my goodness. What? What is going on? Kid, look at the monitor. The subtitles are in the wrong order. Frustrated, Magil turned down the fader for his microphone before sighing incredulously. I realized that I could hear the director berating the vision mixer near the relay van. What? Great, now they got an excuse to cut our pay. As I stood there sinking in despair, Kid came and shook my shoulder. This is the most insane thing I've ever seen. And then I note... What is happening? And then I noticed a red glow like a heat haze coming from something standing between the sheet of Idionite. So I'm just going to Google it. What is Idionite? What? Idionite? Idionite. Oh, it's from Gundam. Of course it is. That's why. That the increasingly flustered floor director seemed to have knocked over and the Claire Bible. What's the Claire Bible? Why don't I look that up too? Claire Bible. Oh shoot, it's from Slayers. Yo, okay. It's been a long time since I've watched Slayers. The frozen flame, I whispered, then gulped. There on a pedestal that looked like it would be a pretty difficult to make a 3D model of, floated a jewel that looked like it would be pretty easy to remember in a few simple polygons, gently turning and giving off a red glow. Stop, it's too dangerous. Or stop, it's too dangerous. Kid had reached out for the frozen flame, only for Madge to grab her wrist with his glowing hand. The red jewel instantly vanished into thin air. I think the only thing that's dangerous is your door-popping magic hand, Madge. Kid stepped back while Madge proceeded to use said hand to hack away at the pedestal. It was hollow, and inside it was the assistant director. He was using one hand to turn the device that made the frozen frame rotate, and the other to flick the switch of a flashlight covered with a transparent red plastic sheet. He had looked at us sheepishly. The tally lights of the camera hadn't followed us, so we didn't try to make a run for it. So this frozen flame is merely a prop for these people to use? Magel made his pronouncement in a significant sounding voice, but Kid was already distracted by something else. Oh, you sneaky little rat, where's the real frozen flame? Leave him, Kid. A lowly assistant director wouldn't know the first thing about something so important. The man gave Kid an impotent, sycophantic smile, which she responded to by seizing him by the scruff of his neck. Magel quickly intervened to separate the two. With a cry of, "Thanks guys, see you tomorrow," the assistant director fled the scene. The real flame must be somewhere else. Magel tried to sound authoritative while awkwardly holding up the side of the prop he'd ruined. I should warn you, Kid, it's likely to be very different from what you're expecting. We left the room thanking each and every one of the gods that all the ridiculous business with the film crew was finally over. This is the most insane thing I've ever seen in a video game. Like, an official one. This would be in... So, like, if I played this in the fan translation, it would be like, oh, they threw this in as jokes. But no. No, this is real. So now we go to the clock tower. Okay. So we want to go not towards the staircase, but towards the terrace again. Then we go into the clock tower. Okay. We're going to go inside. In we go. Kid stilled her breath and reached for the handle. The door wasn't locked, it swung slowly open. What's this room supposed to be? Place is a dump. Kid poked her head in through the door, taking a quick peek to see if anyone was inside, and was disappointed by what she found. The room was large and littered with peculiar-looking machinery and knickknacks, all of which were covered in dust and had been seemingly dumped there haphazardly. Everything looked like it had been resting for a long time. The ends of the room were completely dark, and it was impossible to tell just how big it was, or even what the walls and floor looked like. It seemed the manor's inhabitants had turned the old clock tower into a makeshift storage space some time ago. I stepped warily inside. I didn't know what the sensation was at first, but the further I went into the room, the more I felt it, a profound uneasiness. What's that sound? Kid noticed it first, and what a strange sound it was. It was a low, intermittent hum, just quiet enough that I wasn't sure if I was hearing it or feeling it. It was coming from up ahead. It was cold, flat, unfeeling, and unlike anything I'd ever heard before. Kid seemed fascinated by its strangeness. She ventured further and further into the room. Over here! She'd gone all the way to the back of the room, back to where there was no light in the hallway, nor light from the hallway, nor moonlight from the window. But it wasn't entirely dark. Oh? There were lights like fireflies flickering on and off. But unlike fireflies, they weren't just green ones. There were red, blue, and orange ones, and all the other colors. I'm not sure how to explain this. Explain the thing that all the lights were stuck to. Compared to the rusty piece of junk close to the door, it had an otherworldliness that gave me the goosebumps. As my eyes grew used to the light, I saw that there were other similar objects in the room. They stretched from floor to ceiling. It was as if the entire back half of the room was one gigantic machine. What's Lynx doing with all this stuff, I wondered. And then I remembered the uncanny feeling I had when I saw the painting in the study. I didn't want to admit it, but this feeling was similar. I couldn't put my finger on it somehow, though. It was the same blazing intensity that had taken hold of Magel when he saw it, and I still had a hold of him now that I mention it. Oi, Serge, what are you still doing over there? We found something. I hadn't noticed that I'd been left all alone amid the strange contraptions. I hurried over to Kid and Magel. Kid had found something that looked like another gigantic box. This one was slightly taller than Magel. There was a set of double doors in front of it. Bugger. Sorry, false alarm. It's just a bloody fridge. She was right. It did look like one, which begged the question of why she called me over so excitedly. Kid, You can't just say fridge. They hadn't been invented yet, snapped Magical, cutting me off entirely. He beat me to it. Fine, let's just ignore it. It ain't worth much anyway. He gave me a derisory kick and turned away. That's a Chrono Trigger noise. The moment she kicked the fridge, it got up on both legs and began emitting a shrill noise. What? At the same time, the low, quiet hum became louder, turning into a loud whirring. Two impossibly powerful-looking arms emerged from the sides of the box, and then a cuboid head popped out from the top. It's Cubics! It had two big round eyes and a gigantic mouth, with what appeared to be a row of clenched teeth. On top of the head was a ribbon-shaped parabolic antenna that spun around steadily round and round. Ha! Kid fell to the floor, laughing at how utterly anachronistic this new arrival was, and to think we'd been worried about fridges not having been invented yet. Seemingly offended, the box-like machine, okay, robot, flung its doors open on its chest, revealing two thick, menacing-looking cylinders. Okay, they were Gatling guns. What? What? Each was flanked by a set of 30 years old, daubed in primary colors. Can we not do that? Beep, 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 boop. I can't read it in time. Beep, 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 reload. Ha, ha, ha. My eyes. Kid was laughing so much as she ran in circles to avoid the bullets that she'd worked herself into a choking fit. Kid, Surge, get down. A sonorous voice resonated through the gunfire. The limited edition Maz Marauder, my nemesis of so many Christmases ago. I know your weakness all too well, my old friend. Magil leapt up, nearly touched the ceiling, and then struck with a blow that crushed boulders. With a single strike, the battery compartment, holds two C-sized batteries, on the robot's back was shattered. Are you all right? Came his dulcet tones as he landed gracefully. He was, of course, still burning up on the inside. I think I've literally split me sides. Kid was crouched on the ground, clutching her stomach and still giggling, but she didn't seem hurt. I was also fine, by the way. It doesn't look like there's anything else left for us here. Let's go look elsewhere. Magil stopped mid-sentence and arched his eyebrows. He walked over to the robot's remains, plucked a curious white object from within them, and stuffed it in his pocket. What was that? Oh, just something that might come in handy. I had no idea what he was talking about. Well, shall we? Magil seemed suspiciously cheerful, but I decided to leave it for now. And yet I couldn't help but wonder. What was that strange mechanical doll? Yeah, I know it was just a robot, but can we just try to play along with this whole historical accuracy thing for just 1 minute? And what had it been doing in Lynx's manor? What had Magil called it? The Mars Marauder? And what was going on with him exactly? There was something different about him. I've never seen him cheerful before, let alone incandescent, which he very much still was, by the way. It was probably a bit too late to ask, but just who was he, really? And what was his connection with Lynx? Pulled along by these frankly paper-thin mysteries, the story charged inexorably towards its inevitable conclusion, like a train whose driver had made a quick exit from the window. If you want to reset and play a different scenario, now's your chance. Nope, that's not happening. Okay, we're gonna now go to the stairs outside the study and main hall. Okay, so we're at the clock tower. So we want to go towards the terrace. Okay, so we want to go left, really back to the terrace. Suddenly, kid stopped in her tracks. Something's here. Oh, is this again? The wall began moving. Oh, it's the same one. The good news is I know what to do this time, kind of, probably. So this time I'm not going to copy her. That was a bad idea. All right. Crash, morning star to the ground, leapt, avoided the hand, swung. Again, don't do what she did. Charged in, jumped back. For a moment I tried it. I was better off keeping, though I do wish I could fight like her. Pulled the ball off the floor and came at me swinging. Don't go for the head. Threw it up at the face. There was a squelch. Gripping its mace. I turned and heaved it at its face. It was all going well until it wasn't. Caught the mace. Okay. Let go of the mace. Jump back. Infuriated. Charged towards me. Was unable to defend myself, having thrown my knife. Take mine! A knife through the air, grabbed it. Nice. Okay, plunged the blade. Get down! I dropped to my knees by reflex, but a second later I felt something graze the top of my head. When I looked up, the goblin was lying dead on the floor in front of me, and Kid was standing there, mace in hand. Hey, that one pretty good. Had I ducked a moment later, that would have been my head. I looked at the goblin's mangled face as its heavy body rolled across the floor. It was somehow more terrifying than when it was alive. Starting to feel a little worse for wear. Okay. That was another fine bloody mess. What do you even bring you for, Surge? Oh, that's not good. She doesn't like us. It's fine. Terrace came into view. We keep following the corridor. Took the corridor leading from the left and eventually right in an intersection. Main corridor went downward. Okay, so it says... So now it says... go down the stairs. Go down the stairs. Okay. No text? What? Hello? Jump scare. A shimmering curtain of light appeared around us, blocking our way. I didn't know what the light was, but considering where we were, it was a safe bet it was far from harmless. Hey, Madge, you reckon you can break that ball thing with your magic? Kid was talking about the source of light, a round object that was carved, appeared to be carved into the floor. A circular channel ran around it at a distance, through which light pulsed rapidly, giving rise to the curtain above. Was it one of the defensive magical sigils I'd heard rumors about? What's the hold up? Just make it explode, will ya? We ain't come across a gizmo that couldn't blow up. You couldn't blow up yet. Magil ignored her. He stood there, eyeing the magic spell circle intently, and making no attempt to cast a spell. Oi, Madge, you listening to me? Kid narrowed her eyes, then crept up to him, readying the most brutal weapon she had in her possession, her right elbow. But then... Hello? Is that a widow bunny? As soon as I saw what Magil had retrieved from his pocket, Kid's eyes shone with delight and wonder, and her eyebrows jumped up like two surprised caterpillars. Yes. Well, actually, it's a replica of a creature known as the Lesser Martian Bunny Bun Bun. But let's just call it a toy bunny. Magil was deadly serious. Meanwhile, Kid's eyes appeared to have been replaced with giant throbbing heart symbols. And then he thrust his hands up the bunny's backside. At this point, I should probably mention the toy was a puppet. You should! So, what are you gonna do with this Lesser Bunny Bun Bun? Kid had clearly suffered a critical hit to her mental faculties, so it was left for me to ask the question. I tried to do so as casually as I could manage. It dawned on me that this must be the object Magil had pulled from the wreckage of the robot earlier. Anyway, you've probably forgotten by now, Magil had been gloriously fired up seeing the painting in the study, and the inferno was still raging within him. Which meant that it was probably best not to provoke him, or I just made a blunder. You mean Lesser Martian Bunny Bun Bun. Yes, right, the Lesser Martian Bunny Bun Bun. Good boy. He nodded solemnly like a philosophy professor who just related some great mystery of life. Anyway, now that's settled, let's move on. He turned his back to me, facing the magic circle once more. What do you mean now that's settled? We didn't settle anything, I demanded inwardly. Klaatu Barada Nikto. Ah, yeah, okay, I know that one. Completely ignoring my obvious frustration, Magil began to recite a strange spell, twisting the bunny, Lesser Martian Bunny Bun Bun, into all kinds of peculiar poses. The bunny dance seemed to have an effect, and the curtain of light faded a little, leaving me to wonder if anything was ever going to make sense ever again. Surge. Magil turned to face Kid and myself. Staring me solemnly in the eyes, he thrust the bunny, the Lesser Martian Bunny Bun Bun, into my hands. I'm leaving this in your care. You'll know when to use it. And how exactly am I supposed to use it, Madge? The light ain't completely gone. Are you sure it's safe? Asked Kid. At some point, she'd snapped out of the bunny's spell, and she was right. The magic circle seemed to still be in effect. Huh. The point of the curtain of light is not to keep things out, but rather to keep an even more dangerous light in. It'd be risky to weaken it further. A dangerous light? Then what are we doing hanging around right next to it? Fear not. The toy we found has the ability to nullify its effects. That's why it's essential for handling the frozen flame. I had no idea what he was talking about. Anyway, we passed safely through the barrier of light and eventually arrived at a large door, which we opened. What? Something felt off, even more off. We had found ourselves in a strange place indeed. It wasn't that it was bad or wrong, it was just, like I say, strange. Stranger than I'd ever felt before. It's like going to a shop in a foreign country and buying a pack of 12 crayons, only to find that it had many purple ones and not any blue ones or something. That would be strange. So you finally arrived, you flea-bitten monkeys. A shape towered over us to the left, like the figurehead of a boat made hideous with bits of metal and throbbing veins. It was Lord Lynx, and with him was a giant crystal that gave off a pulsing red light. So this was the frozen flame. Lynx, you finally showed your ugly mug, huh? Kept us waiting long enough. Kid glared at him with a bestial sneer. I'll make you pay for everything you've done. She shouted, then ran straight for him. Or maybe she ran and then shouted, I don't know. Anyway, she charged at Lynx like a rubber band fired from a finger gun. Ugh, kid! Like a film reel playing backwards, she was thrown away from Lynx as forcefully as she'd run toward him. I rushed over and helped her back to her feet. Foolish primitive apes. This room is filled with devices designed solely for the purpose of protecting me. Devices so sophisticated your tiny brains could barely comprehend them. You'll never lay a finger on me, even if you spend the rest of your pathetic lives trying. Clearly pleased with his little speech, Lynx broke into a cackle. But much as pained me to admit it, he was right. We weren't getting anywhere near him. You are unusually quiet, street rat. What's the matter? Lost your nerve? I've been desperately racking my brain for some kind of cool comeback, but he was clearly on a villainous role. Not for long, though. His face twisted with horror as he looked up toward the warped lines of the ceiling. Bzzz, dling, dlang, 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 dang, dang, danga, meow, meow, meow. Was that a guitar? Exaggerated focus lines, like those drawn by a comic book artist's pen, appeared in the air behind Lynx. I followed them to see an imposing figure floating in front of a stained glass window. It was Magil. He had an amp and a guitar, which he was cradling to his chest as he strummed away with a look of rapt concentration. He was a picture in what the frick? Double denim. His jacket dotted with studs and a pair of enormous goggles. He really had nailed the look except for one thing. The fox mask that sat at a jaunty angle on the side of his head was completely out of keeping with the rest of the outfit. Magil, what the bloody hell are you doing? Yelled Kid, who seemed to be on the verge of losing her mind. He didn't seem much affected though and kept on playing his guitar. Then the transformation happened. What? Ah! Stop it! Make it stop! Screeched Lynx, crutching his head. Escalator to paradise. Frick. It seems good old escalator to paradise is having the desired effect. Don't tell me all your awkward high school memories are flooding back in Stairway to Heaven. Magil tossed his head back and laughed some more. Wait a sec. Escalator to paradise? Lynx thrashed and wailed amid the painstaking produced feedback of Magil's guitar. His face went green and greener, and then he finally ballooned up like a cream puff. At the same time, cracks spread across his body, and all of a sudden broke apart to reveal a mass of slender tentacles. Oh, that's gross. What the hell is he? Beats me. Don't give me the usual awkward laugh and hope it goes away rubbish, you useless bloody sook. Gulp. That stare, she could see right through me. Well, I can't do everything, right? I mean, I've got a role I have to stick with, and, you know, I did all the narration, too. Suddenly, I was cut off by a dramatic sound effect. While Kid and I are busy bickering, Lynx had completely transformed. It has a CG, what the frick? He has a gun. He looked like an enormous cartoon octopus. This is insane. Shall we meet at last, Ulu, Martian Mega Mage? Come quietly, or I'll have to use force. So saying, Magil... Oh no, this was Magil saying this. Oh, so saying, Magil leapt nimbly down from the stained glass window with a heroic flourish. Sorry, kid. Lynx here. Rulu, rather, is mine. I've been chasing this H-class intergalactic felon for 500 years now. 500 years? What the hell are you on about? I'm sorry I've had to hide it from you all this time, but my name is Whammy Bar Star Spangle, and I'm with the Space Police! Oh my god, oh my god. I'm here to serve and protect with the power of rock and roll. To punctuate this big reveal, Magil, I'll be using his shorter, it'll be shorter if I use his older name, adopted theatrical pose before frantically changing into a snazzy metallic suit. They clearly called him Spangle Star for a reason. I'm sorry, Star Spangle. Silhouetted by the moonlight, his leg hairs glistened impressively in the gloom as he frantically struggled to pull on his crime-fighting outfit. There, I'm ready for action. Having finally finished his... Oh my god! His mid-act costume change, Magil moved in on Octolynx. He looks like a Kamen Rider or a metal hero. He's literally a metal hero! Oh my god. In case you're wondering what Lynx was doing this whole time, he was biding his time in a sportsman-like manner, proudly rattling off his list of greatest crimes and evil deeds. He was an evil alien mastermind now, remember, so he had certain rules to stick to.
Whammy Star Spangle, I knew this day would come. It's your fault that I had to flee Mars and crash land in this primitive backwater. Do you realize what I had to do to survive? I ate my ship's seats and luggage. I even sliced up the driver's seat format and boiled it. Man, what? And here I was, having struggled for so many years to be able to finally repair my ship's fusion reactor and get ready to fly again, only for you to show up on the same damn day.
Lynx thrust out an arm and pointed the frozen flame behind him, or a tentacle. I don't know much about octopuses, okay? I knew it. The so-called frozen flame is in fact an Acme Mars cyclone crystal fusion reactor. Well, Ulu Rulu, I hate to break it to you, but that hard work was for nothing. I'm gonna smash that reactor to smithereens. A flash of light glinted across Magil's mask, followed by a really cool blue pulse across his armor.
Fool, I'm the Archmage of the Martian Empire. Do you really think that the engine repairs are all that kept me occupied these past 500 years?
Lynx produced a gun-like device he'd had conveniently stowed away somewhere, and then turned it on himself and fired a psychedelic ray of light. On himself? Somehow I heard the sound of grinding gears, and then he suddenly ballooned to enormous size. Had he been measured to the international displacement scale of megaships, he would have easily exceeded 10,000 tons. Don't just stand there gawping, Magil. Call the Space Police mothership. Kid was way beyond the point where this stuff fazed her in the slightest. She played along beautifully.
There isn't one.
Oh. Kid and I made the same disappointed exhalation at the same time. I'd have used a smaller character size if only the fun allowed it. What is happening? Does that mean we're in trouble?
Big trouble. I didn't expect you'd have a gigantifying beam handy. What's the matter, Rabby Bar Jangle Jam? What, you gonna smash my reactor to smithereens?
The walls around us cracked and started collapse as the giant Octolynx cackled and reveled in his apparent victory. Wait, wasn't the reactor gonna be smashed anyway if the whole matter came down?
Looks like a steward's dive surge. I'll be the decoy while you...
Magil was interrupted by a giant battle axe flying into the back of his head, embedding itself at an 86-degree angle with an almighty thunk. Madge, can you hear me? Stay with us! In a panic, I shook his body. This is bad news. If he died on us now, we were toast. White smoke rushed from his head as he laid there. It didn't look like he'd be making a comeback anytime soon. I reckon it's time we skedaddle, said Kid. She clearly wasn't messing around. Skedaddle carrying Madge? Nah, leave him. He would have wanted us to get away safe instead of suffering a horrible death together, probably. Kid could be savage at times. No, you won't make it. Oh, the metallic fingers of Magil's spangled gauntlet grabbed my ankle from behind. Let's go into details about why I was already facing away from him.
Use it. The replica of the lesser Martian buddy. Bun.
All right, the MacGuffin! Literally calling it a MacGuffin. How could I have forgotten about the strange buddy that he conveniently and quite conspicuously given to me earlier in a completely predictable development? The question was, what the hell was I supposed to do with it?
Surge, please. Use it to protect Kid.
Oh crap, he's about to die. My eyebrows fixed into a rueful arc, and then I turned to face Lynx. Surge, he's our man. If he can do it, no one can go Surge! I imagined Kid shouting. In reality, she was propping her head cautiously around a corner, giving me her full support, but watching nervously to see what would happen. Hey, Lynx, get a load of this! And when I thought would be my final desperate act, I pulled the bunny from my pocket. But by doing so, I'd caused a change I could never have foreseen.
You stinky little... Where did you find that waffly widow bunny?
Lynx howled with surprise.
You're not planning to do the little dance that makes the fusion reactor explode, are you?
True to form, Lynx gave everything away. Anyway, figured it was worth a shot, so I made the bunny do a little dance. Kaboom!
No, my precious ship.
Wow, it really blew up.
What the heck is this, buddy, Magil? It's a Martian universal remote.
You Martians really are something. Surge, we've got to run! With Lynx defeated, his entire lair began to explode and fall apart right on cue. Kid came up to me, Madge leaning on her shoulder. She looked like a bear being forced to walk by some half-mauled prey taking a ride on its back without it being too much effort, because bears. The walls behind us fell behind us as we ran and ran. Ow, my eyes. There was no time to stop and see what had become of Lynx. I'm gonna have to put up a epilepsy warning. Mere seconds after we escaped the manor, the entire building collapsed with the force of a giant red giant succumbing to its own gravity and becoming a black hole. I feel high. I don't feel like any of this is real.
I'll get you next time, Star Spangle.
Why is it making the Chrono Trigger noise? A collection of tiny flying saucers zipped upward from the manor's ruins as Lynx escaped, delivering that most classic of lines. Kid and I watched the scene unfold as we supported Magil by both shoulders. Well, all's well that ends well. Even Lynx got a happy ending. The fiend. I never would have expected he'd have a fleet of emergency getaway ships. He's covered all the basics of being a regularly occurring villain. Through the transparent underbelly of his flying saucer, I could see Lynx and his goblins furiously pedaling on what looked like a tandem bicycle. Hey, Duranjo. They probably weren't generating enough power to make another planet. Well, boys, looks like our Lynx hunt will be back on from tomorrow, said Kid pensively. At the same time, she seemed kind of glad. And so was I, because our adventures were only just beginning. What the heck? See, and here's the thing. These videos aren't getting a ton of views. They're not. They're not. A lot of people aren't watching it, which is fair. This is like the nichest of niche things, right? I'll see Kid Match on the Martians again one day. Right? Wait. Oh my god. There absolutely is a Martian. There's absolutely a Martian in Chrono Cross. That's amazing. Anyways, like no one's watching this, which is fine because again, it's hyper niche. But I feel like the people that do, we share right now an incredible bond. A bond of being entirely unable to believe that what we're witnessing is coming true. Like, I am shocked that not only did this get a release in the original playthrough, like the original release on the Satellaview, but that that is now officially available. And I know a lot of people who got this remaster, right, with Chrono Cross, mostly for Chrono Cross. And like, I'd say about 30% of them played Radical Dreamers, right? But I know nobody who's going for these bonus endings. And every time I'm be like, has anyone checked out the bonus endings? You're like, no, I just did it the one time. I'm like, guys, these endings are the most insane. I cannot stress that this is what is going on. There's so many ships. Well, there's a thumbnail. I just cannot stress that this is the wildest thing I've ever seen. And like, honestly, I think we're only going to cover the one because we got still a bunch more. And if they're this long, like, wow, okay. Yeah. So we're gonna, we'll skip ahead here till after the credits are done. All right. Yes, that was The Great Space Chase. Number 4 of 7. These are the most insane things I've ever seen in a video game. God, they're so good. All right, guys. With that, let's continue on so we don't lose our progress, right? Continue there. And then we're going to hit that save. It's wild that you can rename yourself when I don't think I'd want to, really. So we're going to save here. Again, what is that symbol meant to be? Is it a kangaroo? Is it a dog? I don't know. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time for the next one. I see the title, but I'm not even going to read it because I don't want to think about it, but it's just, okay, we'll have to see. Thank you all for watching, guys. We'll see you then. Ciao.